On our website, you can get PDF learning materials for free. Please visit englist.me.
Introductory.
Intended as an introduction or preliminary, serving as a base or starting point.
Examples:
Introductory biology text. Product introductory sale. The introductory class was designed to give students a basic understanding of the subject.
Mess.
A state of confusion, dirtiness, or untidiness. Verb, to fail to do something or to make something dirty or untidy.
Examples:
Have a whole mess. Get into a mess. He made a frightful mess in his room.
Monetary.
Of or relating to the money in the country.
Examples:
The stance of monetary policy. Monetary rewards. The policy might bring more excellent monetary stability to the country.
Delight.
A feeling of great pleasure or happiness.
Examples:
A tremor of delight. With delight. The delight on the child's faces when they received the toy was priceless.
Boom.
A sudden increase in economic activity, or a sudden happening that brings good fortune, a deep, loud, and prolonged sound.
Examples:
Boom in sales. A sonic boom. The high-technology industry is enjoying a boom.
Coronavirus.
A large family of viruses that can cause illness in humans and animals, which name comes from the crown-like spikes on the surface of the virus, which can be seen under a microscope, and COVID-19 is caused by a specific type of coronavirus known as SARS-CoV-2.
Examples:
Coronavirus antibody test kit. Coronavirus bankruptcy. Considering the situation of coronavirus, organized stopped this year's beer festival.
Introduction.
A preliminary explanation or remarks given before the start of a text, performance, or event, the act of bringing something new into existence or introducing something to a wider audience or new market.
Examples:
Introduction education. Self-introduction. The introduction to the new class was informative and engaging.
Strength.
The quality or state of being physically, or sometimes mentally, strong.
Examples:
Strength of the economy. Muscular strength. Health and strength are, above all, gold.
Crisis.
A time of great disagreement, confusion, or danger when problems must be resolved or critical decisions must be taken.
Examples:
Financial crisis. Crisis management. The Chinese word for crisis comprises two characters, one for danger and the other for opportunity.
Lean.
Having a noticeably small amount of body fat. Verb, to bend or move from a straight to a sloping posture.
Examples:
A lean horse. Lean athletic figure. Lean operational improvements often lead to better environmental performance.
Lifeline.
A line, rope, or cable used to support or rescue a person in danger or distress, vital or necessary support, connection, or source of help.
Examples:
Lifeline support. Emotional lifeline. My best friend has been my lifeline throughout all of my hardships.
Critic.
Someone who expresses opinions about the quality of books, music, etc.
Examples:
Art critic. Severe critic. Advocates for legal reform hear less harsh words from their critics.
Pandemic.
An outbreak of a disease that affects many people over a very wide area.
Examples:
Flu pandemic. Global pandemic. They fear a pandemic of a new type of virus.
Inflict.
To cause harm, injury, or suffering to someone or something.
Examples:
Inflict a heavier tax. Inflict a hard blow. The storm inflicted significant damage on the town.
Economy.
The system by which a country or region produces, manages, and distributes goods and services, including the money and finances involved in these activities, of an airline, the lowest priced, most basic option for seating in commercial travel.
Examples:
Economy of scale. Economy class. The economy of the country is struggling due to the recent political instability.
Consciously.
With awareness, in a deliberate manner.
Examples:
Consciously aware of a problem. Act consciously. He consciously criticizes her in the publicity.
Virus.
A tiny infectious organic material that causes disease in people, animals, and plants.
Examples:
Spread of the virus. A strain of virus. An infected person in the hospital will likely pass the virus to others.
Consume.
To spend something, especially fuel, energy, or time, in a large amount.
Examples:
Consume a large of alcohol. Consume electricity. A smaller car will consume less fuel.
Label.
A small piece of paper, fabric, or other material attached to an object and giving information about it. Verb, to assign to a category.
Examples:
A mailing label. Label a bag with my name. The label on the food package lists the ingredients and nutritional information.
Lockdown.
An emergency policy for people, communities, or a country to stay where they are, usually due to specific risks, such as COVID-19.
Examples:
Go on lockdown. Lockdown area. The country's prime minister has decided to implement a nationwide lockdown measure.
Fortune.
A large amount of money or property, chance or luck as an unknown and arbitrary force affecting human affairs.
Examples:
Ill fortune. Bit of good fortune. Capitalism guarantees the right of ownership of personal fortune.
Practically.
Almost or nearly.
Examples:
Practically constant. Practically impossible to find a parking spot. The store is practically empty.
Anemic.
Relating to or suffering from anemia, a condition marked by a deficiency of red blood cells or hemoglobin, resulting in lower than normal levels of oxygen in the body, lacking vitality, energy, or strength.
Examples:
Anemic appearance. Anemic economy. The company's website had anemic traffic, with very few visitors each month.
Minus.
Subtracting or taking away, having a value less than zero.
Examples:
Minus sign. Minus temperature. The recipe calls for 4 cups of flour minus 1 tablespoon.
Predict.
To state beforehand that something will happen in the future, mainly based on knowledge or experience.
Examples:
Predict the future. Predict when she will arrive. It's notoriously challenging to predict birth rates.
Capita.
A Latin word meaning head, used to express the amount for each person, any head or head-like expansion on a structure, as on a bone.
Examples:
Per capita sales. The agricultural yield per capita. GDP per capita shrunk by almost 10% for the third consecutive year.
Negative.
Having the quality of something bad or harmful, expressing refusal.
Examples:
Have a negative effect. A negative number. The movie has received almost universally negative criticism.
Reverse.
To change something's direction, order, position, decision, etc., to the opposite one, adjective, directed or moving toward the rear.
Examples:
Reverse the trend. Reverse the order. The restaurant reversed a ban on smoking.
Uncertain.
Not being sure of something, not being able to choose.
Examples:
Numerous uncertain factors. Take an uncertain attitude. She was uncertain about her friend's intentions.
Novel.
An extended fictional work in prose, usually in the form of a story. Adjective, original and of a kind not seen before.
Examples:
Historical novel. Novel effect. The novel has largely gotten positive feedback.
Policymaker.
A person in charge of or involved in developing action plans for a political party, business, etc.
Examples:
Education policymaker. Regional policymaker. Policymakers struggle to develop various laws and regulations to address international trade conflicts.
Integrate.
To combine one thing with another so that they form a whole or work together. To accept equal participation for members of all races and ethnic groups.
Examples:
Integrate into the existing system. Integrate both businesses. He found that it is difficult to integrate socially.
Combine.
To join or merge to form a single thing or group.
Examples:
Combine chemically with another substance. Combine augmented reality. Hydrogen and oxygen combine to form water.
Epidemiology.
The study of the distribution and determinants of health-related states or events, including diseases, in specified populations, and the application of this study to the control of health problems.
Examples:
Epidemiology research. Cancer epidemiology. The epidemiology of influenza has been well studied over the years, leading to the development of effective vaccines and treatment strategies.
Tradition.
A belief, custom, or way of doing something that has been passed down from generation to generation within a group or society.
Examples:
A tradition of a culture. Against tradition. It is a tradition in many families to have a big Thanksgiving dinner with all their relatives.
Recover.
To return to a former condition, health, mind, or strength.
Examples:
Recover a loss. Recover approval ratings. She is still recovering from a shot to her shoulder.
Transformation.
A complete change in form, nature, or appearance of someone or something.
Examples:
The transformation of a tadpole into a frog. Cast a transformation spell. Understanding unitary transformations of a normal matrix require considerable mathematical sophistication.
Excite.
To make someone feel suddenly enthusiastic or eager.
Examples:
Excite the crowd. Excite rebellion. The news of her promotion excited her.
Execute.
To kill someone, especially as a legal punishment, to carry out or perform an action, duty, etc.
Examples:
execute a bold strategy, execute a double play. The mafioso who collaborated with the police was executed.
Massive.
Enormous amount, very heavy and solid.
Examples:
massive amounts, massive stars. The recent economic downturn has resulted in massive layoffs.
Stimulus.
Something that causes growth or arouses action.
Examples:
a response to a stimulus. Economic stimulus. This book provides children with ideas and a stimulus for outside recreation.
Tune.
A musical composition or set of musical notes that are played or sung. Verb, to adjust or set something to a specific condition or standard.
Examples:
the tune of a song. Tune a piano. The band played a beautiful tune on their instruments.
Trillion.
The number 1 trillion, a million million.
Examples:
trillion cubic feet. Many trillions of dollars. 1 light year is nearly 6 trillion miles.
Necessity.
The state or fact of being needed, anything indispensable.
Examples:
in great necessity. The necessity of the concrete measure. He emphasized the necessity of immediate action.
Receipt.
A written or printed statement acknowledging that something has been paid for or received, the act of receiving something.
Examples:
a receipt slip. Receipt date. Please make sure to keep your receipt as proof of purchase.
Injection.
The act of introducing a liquid, especially a drug, into the body using a needle and a syringe.
Examples:
fuel injection. Injection needle. He received an injection of antibiotics to treat his infection.
Fiscal.
Relating to government revenue and expenditures, relating to financial matters.
Examples:
fiscal policy. Fiscal year. The government is facing a fiscal crisis due to high levels of debt.
Policy.
A set of rules, guidelines, principles, or procedures that govern decision-making or action, often used in the context of business or government. A course of action or plan of action adopted or followed by an organization or individual to achieve a goal or objective.
Examples:
health policy. Foreign policy. The company's new policy on remote work has made it a more inclusive workplace.
Firm.
Resolute or unwavering in decision-making or action, strong or secure in structure, make or composition, reliable, trustworthy, or dependable. Noun, a business or company.
Examples:
Firm grip. Accounting firm. The firm deadline for submitting the project is tomorrow, so we need to work efficiently to finish on time.
Bankrupt.
Unable to pay one's debts, having been reduced to a state of financial ruin, lacking in something essential or fundamental.
Examples:
Bankrupt business. Financially bankrupt. Unfortunately, the company went bankrupt and had to close its doors permanently.
Unemployed.
Not having a job, although able to work.
Examples:
Assignment for the unemployed youth. People who are unemployed. My father was unemployed for so long.
Scar.
A mark that remains on the skin after a wound has healed.
Examples:
Burn scar. Carry a scar. Even after the wound has healed, a scar remains.
Synchronize.
To happen or cause to happen at the same time or rate.
Examples:
Synchronize movements. Synchronize our watches. The ball speed will increase when the lower body movements are perfectly synchronized.
Government.
The group of people with authority to control a country or state.
Examples:
Government bureaucracy. Government funding. The federal government is planning to increase taxes for the next fiscal year.
Bond.
A close emotional connection between two or more people, a certificate of debt that a government or corporation issues to raise money.
Examples:
Bond as a family. Global bond market. They had formed a friendship bond.
Economics.
The branch of social science that deals with the production, consumption, and transfer of goods and services.
Examples:
Welfare economics. Economics professor. His class will cover an introduction to agricultural economics.
Cycle.
An interval during which a recurring sequence of events occurs, a bicycle or motorcycle.
Examples:
The cycle of the seasons. Go to the workplace by cycle. The food chain causes a material cycle.
Grab.
To take hold of something or someone suddenly with a hand, especially in a violent way.
Examples:
Grab an audience. Grab an opportunity. Shall we grab a bite to eat?
Headroom.
The amount of space or clearance above one's head, often used to describe the vertical space in a room or vehicle. The amount of leeway or flexibility available in a given situation or individual circumstances.
Examples:
headroom clearance, limited headroom. The car has plenty of headroom, even for tall passengers.
Breakthrough.
A sudden, dramatic, and important discovery or development that helps to improve a situation or provide an answer to a problem.
Examples:
breakthrough in the negotiations, breakthrough discovery. A technique called deep learning has led to breakthroughs in AI.
Accustomed.
Familiar with, used to, in the habit of, having become habituated to something, often a behavior or situation.
Examples:
accustomed routine, accustomed to complaints. I am accustomed to waking up early for work.
Distance.
The amount of space between 2 points, measured in units such as miles, meters, or kilometers, the extent, scope, or range between two things, such as distance or emotional distance.
Examples:
driving distance, social distance. The marathon runner covered a long distance in a short amount of time.
Measurement.
The act or process of finding something's size, quantity, or degree.
Examples:
chest measurement, a precise measurement. The measurement error of this industrial machine is less than 1 micrometer.
Disease.
A disorder or illness that affects the body or mind, often characterized by specific symptoms or abnormal functioning of organs or systems.
Examples:
disease prevention, disease control. The doctor diagnosed him with a rare disease that had no known cure.
Obvious.
Easy to see, discover, or understand.
Examples:
obvious reasons. His conclusion was obvious. There are obvious differences between the two wine-producing regions.
Gradual.
Happening slowly over a long period of time or distance, not steep or abrupt.
Examples:
a gradual process, a gradual change. The country experienced a gradual increase in population.
Unfortunately.
By bad luck, unluckily.
Examples:
unfortunately caught in a shower. Even more unfortunately. The treatments were done, but, unfortunately, were unsuccessful.
Feat.
A notable or impressive achievement, especially one that requires great skill or bravery.
Examples:
intellectual feat, feat accomplishment. It is an incredible feat to climb Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world.
Liquid.
A A substance, such as water or oil that flows freely and is neither a solid nor a gas.
Examples:
Colorless liquid. Hazardous liquid. The sponge takes up the liquid well.
Sustained.
Lasting for a long time or continuing for a long time without becoming weaker or less intense.
Examples:
Sustained economic growth. Sustained release medication. The company experienced sustained growth over the past decade.
Horizon.
The line at which the Earth's surface and the sky appear to meet, the range of interest or activity that can be anticipated.
Examples:
The event horizon of a black hole. Business horizon. As the sun set, the colors of the sky merged with the horizon, creating a beautiful orange and pink hue.
Environment.
The natural world such as air, water, and land in which humans, animals, and plants live.
Examples:
Environment affairs. Chaotic environment. Every human is responsible for taking care of the Earth's environment.
Perilous.
Involving a high degree of risk or danger, hazardous or fraught with potential harm.
Examples:
Perilous journey. Perilous terrain. Climbing the cliff was a perilous adventure.
Arguably.
Used when expressing an opinion or idea that you believe can be proven true.
Examples:
She is arguably the best singer. Arguably the greatest discovery. He is arguably regarded as the finest actor of his generation.
Calculation.
The act or process of using numbers to judge an amount of something.
Examples:
Make a calculation. Calculation of loss and gain. The error in the calculation was attributable to rounding.
Resilient.
Able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions.
Examples:
A hard and resilient steel. Resilient population. She is a resilient person and has always bounced back from setbacks.
Strengthen.
To become stronger or more effective, to make someone or something stronger or more effective.
Examples:
Strengthen the immune system. Strengthen a border patrol. Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body.
Withstand.
To resist the effect or impact of something.
Examples:
Withstand pressure. Withstand temptation. The new phone is waterproof and can withstand being dropped in water.
Shock.
A strong feeling or physical reaction to a sudden and unexpected event or experience, especially something unpleasant.
Examples:
Death from shock. Shock resistant. He got an electric shock at work.
Tremendous.
Very great in degree or extent or amount or impact, extremely good.
Examples:
Tremendous amount. Tremendous popularity. We had a tremendous time yesterday.
Institute.
An organization that has a specific purpose, particularly one dealing with science, education, or a particular profession. Verb, to initiate, introduce, or establish something.
Examples:
Institute a lawsuit. Research institutes. This region has many institutes offering higher education.
Spot.
A particular location or place, a small round or roundish area, differing in color or feels from the surface around it.
Examples:
Beauty spot. A spot on his honor. This remote spot is rarely visited.
Pray.
To make a request or petition to a higher power, especially in the form of a respectful or humble request.
Examples:
Pray devoutly. Pray for rain. She closed her eyes and prayed for strength to overcome difficult times.
Mindset.
The established set of attitudes or fixed ideas held by someone.
Examples:
Flexible mindset. The mindset in an education system. Countries whose goal is economic development often focus on fostering an entrepreneurial mindset in each individual.
Inevitably.
In a manner that cannot be avoided or prevented.
Examples:
Inevitably decline with age. Inevitably reach the consumer. Because of his excellent performance, he will inevitably be promoted.
Prone.
Inclined or likely to do something or to show a particular characteristic, especially something bad, lying face downward.
Examples:
Accident prone. Prone to diarrhea. He was prone to making rash decisions.
Climate.
The weather in a particular location averaged over some long period.
Examples:
A cold climate. Effects of climate change. Climate and weather have an impact on every part of our lifestyles.
Density.
The quality of compactness of a substance.
Examples:
Population density. Higher pixel density. Do you know the density of the population in Hong Kong?
Planet.
Any of the 9 large celestial bodies that circle in the solar system, any celestial body that revolves around a star.
Examples:
Planet like the Earth. Save the planet. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun.
Develop.
To grow or expand, to improve or refine through a process of progress and refinement, often to achieve greater sophistication or complexity, to elaborate or add detail to something that is in the process of being created.
Examples:
Develop a strategy. Develop a skill. We must develop a new system to streamline our workflow and increase efficiency.
Debt.
Something, especially money, goods, or services owed by one person to another, the state of owing something.
Examples:
Debt ceiling. Corporate debt. He became in debt after losing his job.
Denominate.
To give a name to designate, to specify by name.
Examples:
Denominate a numerical value. Denominate an account. The customers can choose to denominate their transactions in any currency they prefer.
Currency.
A system of money in general use in a particular country.
Examples:
Currency exchange. Digital currency. The currency used in this country is the euro.
Depreciate.
To decrease in value or worth over time, to become less valuable or less esteemed over time.
Examples:
Depreciate asset. Depreciate against foreign currency. The car's value depreciated soon after being driven off the lot.
Nigh.
Near in distance or time, almost, nearly.
Examples:
Nigh impossible. Nigh perfect. We were nigh exhausted after hiking up the mountain in the heat.
Separate.
To force, take, or pull apart, mark as different.
Examples:
Separate video into chapter. Separate cream from milk. We need to separate the aspect of his personality from the part of his competence when making an investment decision.
Fundamental.
Forming an essential base or core from which everything else develops or is affected.
Examples:
Fundamental education. Fundamental rights. Human behavior has fundamental characteristics.
Buffer.
A device, material, or person that reduces the impact or effect of an external force or provides protection against harm or damage.
Examples:
A buffer between the quarreling parents. Use a buffer to reduce noise. Using a password manager can act as a buffer against hackers who try to steal your personal information.
Discipline.
The practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior, using and punishments if these are broken, a region of activity, knowledge, or influence.
Examples:
Break discipline. Rigid discipline. He quickly learned the military discipline.
Emerging.
Starting to exist, mature, or become well known.
Examples:
Emerging country. Emerging technologies. Emerging technologies have dramatically improved productivity in various industries.
Indebted.
Owing money or having financial obligations to another person or organization, feeling grateful or obligated to someone for their help, support, or kindness.
Examples:
Indebted to creditors. Financially indebted. He felt indebted to his parents for all the sacrifices they had made for him.
Commodity.
A product or a raw material that can be traded, bought, or sold.
Examples:
Commodity tax. International commodity. The government announced a policy to control the rise in commodity prices.
Export.
To send goods or services to another country for sale, to transfer electronic data out of a database or document in a format that other programs can use.
Examples:
Export goods. Export the data. The country exports a large amount of agricultural products.
Dramatically.
In a very impressive manner.
Examples:
He confessed dramatically. The cabin pressure fell dramatically. Life expectancy has grown dramatically this century.
Rely.
To require a certain thing or the assistance and support of someone or something in order to continue, run properly, or succeed.
Examples:
Rely on convenience stores. Rely entirely on him. Babies heavily rely on others for food.
Remittance.
The act of sending money or paying a debt, a sum of money sent as payment or as a gift.
Examples:
Electronic remittance. Monthly remittance. The remittance of the payment was delayed due to a technical error.
Shrink.
To become smaller, or to make something smaller in size or amount.
Examples:
Shrink the tumor. Shrink with fear. This shirt will shrink in the wash.
Sector.
A distinct part or division of something often used to refer to a segment of an economy or industry, an area or field of work or activity.
Examples:
Industrial sector. Private sector. The technology sector is constantly evolving and innovating.
Fortunate.
Having good luck or lucky.
Examples:
Fortunate situation. Less fortunate person. He was pretty fortunate to pass the exam.
Deploy.
To move troops or weapons into a position or military action, to bring into something in an effective way.
Examples:
Deploy troops for battle. Deploy safety measures. This country deployed its weapons in the East region.
President.
The leader of a republic, for example, the U.S., the person in charge of the organization, such as a company, university, club, etc.
Examples:
President Emeritus. Vice President for Finance. The club president does not have absolute power.
Moratorium.
A temporary suspension or delay of an activity or process, often as a result of an official agreement or decision.
Examples:
A temporary moratorium on evictions. Impose moratorium. The council has decided to impose a moratorium on building new houses in the area.
Poorest.
Having the least wealth or resources.
Examples:
Poorest of the poor. Poorest area. The poorest countries in the world often have the highest rates of malnutrition.
Bilateral.
Involving two sides or done by two parties together.
Examples:
Bilateral talks. Bilateral symmetry. Both countries signed the bilateral agreement.
Creditor.
A person, company, etc., to whom a debtor owes money.
Examples:
The creditor's claims. Bankrupt creditor. I asked the lawyer to initiate creditor negotiations for voluntary liquidation.
Amazing.
Extremely surprising, especially in a way that you like or admire.
Examples:
Amazing advances. The most amazing feeling. The golfer recorded an amazing distance.
Gulf.
A large ocean inlet or deep bay that is partially enclosed by land.
Examples:
Gulf War. Gulf Stream. The Gulf of Mexico is a body of water in the southern United States.
Suffocate.
To die or cause someone to die from lack of air or inability to breathe. To be overwhelmed or constricted by a feeling or situation, such as anxiety or oppression.
Examples:
Suffocate to death. Suffocate fire. People can suffocate from a lack of oxygen in confined spaces.
Overdo.
To exaggerate or exceed limits of something. To do or use something to such an excessive or exaggerated extent that it causes harm or becomes unpleasant. To overexert.
Examples:
Overdo exercise. Overdo caffeine. If you overdo the laundry detergent, it can damage your clothes.
Struggle.
To make a great effort to do something when it is difficult, or there are a lot of problems, to use force or violence to break away from restraint or constriction.
Examples:
Struggle against discrimination. Struggle to get the job. He could not struggle against temptation.
Heartbreak.
A feeling of great sadness or disappointment.
Examples:
Ease her heartbreak. Go through heartbreak. They had experienced the heartbreak of losing 2 children due to premature births.
Conversation.
An informal talk between 2 or more people to exchange their views, ideas, information, etc.
Examples:
Conversation in English. A friendly conversation. Your conversation reflects your thoughts.
Dramatic.
Very sudden, very excellent, or full of action and excitement.
Examples:
Make dramatic changes. A dramatic rescue at sea. The statement had a dramatic impact on house prices.
Hand-to-mouth.
Living or existing at a basic or subsistence level without any savings or reserves.
Examples:
Hand-to-mouth existence. Hand-to-mouth budgets. The young artist led a hand-to-mouth lifestyle, often relying on the kindness of friends and strangers to get by.
Advance.
To go or move forward, to develop in a positive way.
Examples:
Advance the technology. Advance a cooperative relationship. Scientific knowledge will advance significantly with the power of AI.
Applicable.
Fit or suitable to be applied, having relevance to a person or thing.
Examples:
Give applicable examples. Accordance with applicable law. This regulation is not applicable to minors.
Extent.
The point or degree or area to which something extends.
Examples:
Certain extent. The extent of the damage. I was amazed at the extent of her generosity.
Hygiene.
The practice of maintaining cleanliness in the home and person to prevent illness.
Examples:
Hygiene practices. Public hygiene. Good hygiene is important for preventing the spread of illness.
Solidarity.
Unity or agreement of feelings or actions among a group, especially among individuals with a common interest.
Examples:
solidarity among union members, solidarity action. The workers showed solidarity in their strike for better working conditions.
Communal.
Belonging to or used by a group rather than individuals, for common use.
Examples:
communal swimming pool, communal combination of funds. Communal elections were held in several European countries.
Mention.
To speak or write about something or someone briefly.
Examples:
mention name, mention in a report. I mentioned to him that I had seen his sister at the grocery store earlier that day.
Relate.
To establish a connection or association between two or more things. To narrate or tell about an event, experience, or relationship. To empathize or feel sympathy with someone or something.
Examples:
relate a story, relate a message. He tried to relate his experience to the group, but they couldn't understand.
Prospect.
The possibility or likelihood of something happening or being successful. A person or thing that is likely to succeed or become popular. A potential customer or client. Verb, to explore for useful or valuable things or substances, such as minerals.
Examples:
prospect for gold, job prospects. The prospect of starting a new business can be both exciting and daunting.
Inflation.
A general and progressive increase in prices. Cosmology, a theory of the exponential expansion of space in the early universe, the act of filling something with air.
Examples:
inflation control, global inflation. Investment in index funds can often be a hedge against inflation.
Exchange.
To give something and receive something else in return, often with the implication that the items being traded are of equal or comparable value. Noun, the act of giving or taking something in return for something else. A place or system where goods or services can be bought, sold, or traded.
Examples:
exchange rate. Exchange a few friendly words. My sister and I frequently exchange books as we love reading.
Combination.
A collection of things that have been combined, an assemblage of separate parts or qualities.
Examples:
Genic combinations. Combination number. The combination to the safe was a secret.
Expansion.
The process of becoming larger or more extensive, or the result of this process.
Examples:
Industrial expansion. Expansion project. The company is undergoing an expansion, opening new locations in several states.
Observable.
That can be noticed or seen.
Examples:
observable change, experimentally observable. Any theorem relies on both observable fact and assumption.
Aggressive.
Behaving in an angry, energetic, or threatening way towards another person, tending to spread quickly.
Examples:
an aggressive war, an aggressive tumor. An aggressive tide wrecked the ship.
Despair.
The feeling that there is no hope and you cannot do anything to improve a difficult situation.
Examples:
despair at the future, untold despair. His friend's death drove him to despair.
Extreme.
Very great in amount or degree.
Examples:
extreme sports, extreme weather events. Solar gravity creates extreme pressures and temperatures.
Determinant.
A factor, circumstance, or condition that contributes to the shaping, influencing, or determining of a particular outcome or result.
Examples:
environmental determinant, a determinant of crop yields. One determinant of success is having a positive attitude and a strong work ethic.
Engage.
To attract and keep someone's attention and interest, to participate in or obtain services of something.
Examples:
engage in environmental protection activities. Engage a new employee. Many multinational companies are engaged in the reconstruction of that country.
Basis.
The most important facts, ideas, or events from which something is developed, the way how things are organized or arranged.
Examples:
on an equal basis. Basis for calculation. This evidence will form the basis for our discussion.
Restructure.
To organize a company, business, or system in a new and different way to make it work more effectively.
Examples:
restructure sentence. Restructure my debts. The economic downturn made it necessary to restructure the business.
Desperate.
Feeling or showing a lack of hope and a willingness to do anything because of the problematic situation.
Examples:
her desperate screams. Desperate attempt. He was desperate when he lost all his money by gambling.
Involve.
To include or affect someone or something as a necessary part of something else.
Examples:
involve a lot of paperwork. Involve a high degree of risk. The investigation involves several government agencies and is expected to take several months.
Renewal.
The process of making something new or active again, the act of renewing a subscription, license, etc.
Examples:
renewal process, license renewal. The city is undergoing a renewal project that will transform the downtown area.
Incredibly.
In a way that is very difficult to believe, exceedingly, or extremely.
Examples:
incredibly cheerful character. Get incredibly insecure. Several cities are experiencing incredibly high unemployment rates.
Segment:
a part or section of something, a distinct group within a larger whole.
Examples:
segment analysis, market segment. The report divided the data into segments based on age, gender, and income level.
Commissioner:
an official member of a government department or another organization who is responsible for controlling something or performing specific duties.
Examples:
elect police commissioners, commissioner of patent office. He became an audit commissioner because of his years of experience as an accountant.
Expand:
to increase or to make something greater in size, number, or importance.
Examples:
expand a lineup, expand agricultural output. They hope to expand their business worldwide.
Nation:
a large organized community of people living in a particular country or region and having a particular culture.
Examples:
nation-state, a seafaring nation. The nation of Japan is known for its unique culture and advanced technology.
Refer:
to direct someone's attention, thoughts, or questions to another source or person, to mention, cite, or allude to something as evidence or support.
Examples:
refer to a book, refer to a map. Please refer to the instruction manual for further assistance.
Statistics:
the discipline that concerns the collection, organization, analysis, interpretation, and presentation of data.
Examples:
statistics for cancer, official statistics. The statistics demonstrate that poverty and unemployment are genuine problems.
Coincidence:
an occasion when two or more similar things happen at the same time by chance, in a surprising way.
Examples:
the coincidence of an opinion. By a strange coincidence. It was a pure coincidence that we met her in the library.
Empathy:
the ability to share another person's feelings or experiences by imagining that person's situation.
Examples:
full of empathy. Empathy for patients. Empathy is also necessary to understand history.
Vulnerable:
Capable of being hurt or influenced physically or mentally.
Examples:
A vulnerable bridge. Vulnerable parts of the body. Infants and pregnant women are particularly vulnerable.
Decisive.
Making a clear and definite decision or choice, settling an issue.
Examples:
A decisive ballot. Decisive action. The decisive victory in the war ended years of conflict.
Mourn.
To feel or express sorrow, grief, or sadness, especially over the death of someone.
Examples:
Mourn with deep grief. Mourn death. We mourned the loss of our dear friend at the memorial service.
Complain.
To say dissatisfaction or annoyance about something or somebody.
Examples:
Complain about a job. Call and complain frequently. Our users are often complaining about the slow application.
Gender.
The range of characteristics of femininity and masculinity and differentiating between them, especially when considering social and cultural differences rather than differences in biology.
Examples:
Gender-blind policies. Dual gender. Cultural norms strongly influence gender expectations.
Embrace.
To accept something willingly and enthusiastically. Noun, the act of clasping another person in the arms as in greeting or affection.
Examples:
Embrace an opportunity. A warm embrace. The woods embrace the house.
Nuance.
A subtle or slight degree of difference in appearance, meaning, sound, someone's feeling, etc.
Examples:
Rich in nuance. Subtle cultural nuance. The painter has tried to express every nuance of the woman's expression in his work.
Conquer.
To bring under control by force or authority.
Examples:
Conquer fatal disease. Conquer the world. You must conquer your anxiety about driving.
Probable.
Likely to happen or likely to be true.
Examples:
Probable outcome. Probable cause of a fire. It seems probable that he has forgotten our scheduled meeting.
Complexity.
The state or quality of being complicated or intricate and difficult to understand.
Examples:
Cognitive complexity. Complexity theory. The project's complexity made it difficult for the team to complete it on time.
Dial.
To adjust or set the controls of a machine or device by turning a controller called dial. Noun, a disc on a telephone that is rotated a fixed distance for each number called.
Examples:
Dial up the volume. Dial down the tension. He dialed the phone number and waited for an answer.
Wrestling.
A sport in which two contestants grapple and try to throw each other to the ground.
Examples:
Wrestling match. Arm wrestling. He had always been interested in sumo wrestling and decided to try it.
Handle.
To deal with a situation, problem, or strong emotion.
Examples:
Handle a precious object. Handled the incident. We all should learn how to handle stress.
Mixture.
A combination of different elements, substances, or entities, usually in non-uniform proportions, resulting in a homogeneous or heterogeneous blend of physical or chemical properties.
Examples:
Mixture of emotions. Perfect mixture. The paint was a mixture of different pigments to achieve the desired color.
Predisposition.
A tendency or inclination to a particular behavior or condition, often due to genetic or environmental factors.
Examples:
Predisposition to anxiety. Genetic predisposition. Smoking can increase a person's predisposition to lung cancer.
Perspective.
A certain attitude towards something, a particular style of thinking about something.
Examples:
A perspective view. Perspective of the battle. His father's death changed his whole perspective on life.
Decision.
The act or process of making up someone's mind about something, a choice or judgment reached after considering options.
Examples:
Decision authority. A selfish decision. She was struggling to make a decision between two job offers.
Recognize.
To acknowledge or realize something or someone, to identify, remember, or become aware of something that was previously known or encountered.
Examples:
Recognize talent. Recognize achievement. It's important to recognize your strengths and weaknesses.
Pathway.
A track that constitutes or serves as a path, an approach, or a way of doing something.
Examples:
Pathway to understanding. Cellular signaling pathways. When the first molecule in the pathway receives a signal, it activates other molecules.
Compromise.
To settle a problem or disagreement by mutual concession.
Examples:
Compromise the matter. Cannot compromise anymore. They never compromised on development despite the lack of funds.
Advantage.
A condition or circumstance that puts one in a favorable or superior position, A beneficial feature or asset that someone or something has.
Examples:
Score an advantage. Take advantage of his weak points. One of the main advantages of the new product is its increased efficiency.
Decision maker.
A person who makes important decisions, especially at a high level in an organization.
Examples:
Policy decision maker. Act as a decision maker. A wealth of information does not always have a positive impact on decision makers.
Humanitarian.
Something relating to the promotion of human welfare, or someone who works to promote human welfare.
Examples:
Humanitarian crisis. A truly humanitarian act. The organization is dedicated to providing humanitarian aid to disaster-stricken areas worldwide.
Wit.
The ability to say or write things or ideas in a clever and humorous way.
Examples:
The wit of man. Full of wit. He has the wit to keep talking about this topic.
Wholesale.
The sale of goods in large quantities, typically for resale by retailers, of or relating to goods or services that are sold in large quantities, typically for resale by retailers or other intermediaries.
Examples:
Wholesale business. Wholesale dealer in fish. Our company specializes in the wholesale of office supplies.
Politically.
In a way that relates to the government or public affairs of a nation.
Examples:
Politically advantageous. Become politically savvy. This newspaper is supposed to be politically neutral.
Economical.
Providing a satisfactory return on the money, time, or effort, not using more money, fuel, etc. than necessary.
Examples:
Economical use of her time. An economical meal. It is more economical to wash your plastic bottle and reuse it.
Highlight.
To make something prominent, mainly so that people give it more attention.
Examples:
Highlight a string in red. Highlight an important difference. The introduction highlighted the speaker's distinguished career as a consultant.
Unthinkable.
Too unlikely or shocking to imagine or accept.
Examples:
An unthinkable coincidence. In unthinkable trouble. That accident was something unthinkable with my long experience.
Foresight.
The ability to anticipate or predict future events or outcomes. The act of planning for the future with wisdom and prudence, an intuitive sense of what is to come.
Examples:
Strategic foresight. Foresight planning. With foresight, She made a plan to avoid any potential obstacles.
Modify.
To change something slightly, such as a plan, option, law, etc., especially to make it more suitable for a particular purpose.
Examples:
genetically modify food. Modify my behavior. We use adverbs to modify verbs and adjectives.
Necessarily.
In an essential manner, in such a way as could not be otherwise.
Examples:
not necessarily a problem. Necessarily true. This accident was something that happened necessarily.
Priority.
Something that is more important than other things and should be dealt with first.
Examples:
priority call. Priority seating for elderly. Her priority is to be a mother.
Emergency.
A sudden unforeseen crisis usually involving danger that requires immediate action.
Examples:
emergency action. Acute emergency. The president declared a state of emergency.
Internal.
Of or relating to the inside of something.
Examples:
internal organs. The internal economy. The Prime Minister cancelled visits to other countries to resolve internal disputes.
Optimism.
A feeling or the belief that good things will happen, or the quality of being full of hope and emphasizing the positive aspects of a situation.
Examples:
sense of optimism. Political optimism. There is considerable optimism that the economy will recover soon.
Overcome.
To succeed in controlling or dealing with something, such as a problem or difficulty, to defeat or overwhelm someone.
Examples:
overcome opponents. Overcome all difficulties. He tried to overcome a bad reputation and win the election.
Collapse.
To fall down or give way suddenly, often after breaking apart.
Examples:
the stock market collapsed. Ready to collapse. The roof finally collapsed after 3 days and 3 nights of heavy snowfall.
Queue.
A line of people or vehicles, especially one that forms outside a place of entertainment or a public building, waiting for something to become available.
Examples:
form a queue. Queue system. There was a long queue at the popular attraction.
Refugee.
A displaced person who has crossed national borders and who cannot or is unwilling to return home due to political, religious, or economic reasons or because of a war.
Examples:
global refugee crisis. The refugee camp. The community warmly welcomed the refugees.
Amplify.
To enhance something, particularly sound or brightness.
Examples:
Amplify a signal. Amplify the effect. You might need to amplify this point.
Specifically.
Only associated with or meant for one thing.
Examples:
Designed specifically for men. For specifically American customers. This ad campaign is aimed specifically at young women.
Diagnose.
To determine or distinguish the nature of a problem or an illness through a careful analysis.
Examples:
Diagnose the problem. Diagnose with CT scans. This device is used to diagnose brain cancer and other tumors.
Responsible.
Answerable or accountable for something within one's power, control, or management.
Examples:
Responsible action. Responsible for customer service. She's a responsible pet owner who ensures her dog gets enough exercise and a healthy diet.
Incredible.
Unbelievable, extremely large.
Examples:
Incredible amount. At incredible speed. Her response revealed incredible idiocy.
Firepower.
The ability or capacity of a military unit or weapon to deliver a high volume of fire, the destructive capacity of military weapons or equipment.
Examples:
The firepower of the military. Lethal firepower. The army relied on its superior firepower to win the battle.
Instrument.
An object used to make musical sounds, such as a piano, guitar, or drum, a tool or device used for a specific activity, particularly in specialist or scientific work.
Examples:
Musical instruments. Surgical instruments. This electronic instrument is required to undergo periodic inspections to ensure precision.
Financing.
The process of providing funds for running a business, activity, or project. The money for a business, activity, or project.
Examples:
Financing activity. Public financing. The investment fund offered financing for a company on the brink of bankruptcy.
Nurse.
A healthcare professional who is trained to provide care for the sick or injured. Verb, to try to cure by special care or treatment of an illness or injury.
Examples:
Nurse practitioner. A volunteer nurse. The night shift nurse checked my vital signs before administering the medication.
Transparency.
The condition or quality of being easy to see through.
Examples:
Lack of transparency. Transparency during the trials. The main discussion topic is government transparency.
Improve.
To make or become better.
Examples.
Improve a process. Improve the test score. We want to improve ties between our two countries.
Finance.
The management of money, credit, banking, and investments, especially by a government or commercial organization, the branch of economics that studies the management of money and other assets.
Examples.
Finance Act. Manage my finances. Our company decided to hire an advisor who specializes in finance.
Committed.
Willing to put in a lot of effort, time, and energy into something, firmly believing in something.
Examples.
In a committed relationship. Strong and committed sales staff. Our company is strongly committed to meeting customers' needs.
Deck.
A flat surface that is usually made of wood or other material and is attached to a building, vehicle, or other structure.
Examples.
Deck chairs. Hands on deck. She sat on the ship's deck, watching the sunset over the ocean.
Digital.
Processing or storing information as a succession of 1 and 0 to show that a signal is present or missing, relating to the use of computer technology, especially the Internet.
Examples.
A digital watch. Digital electronic signature. Sensors convert physical phenomena into digital signals.
Cooperation.
The act or situation of working together with someone towards a shared purpose, benefit, etc.
Examples.
Cooperation with strategic partners. Thoroughgoing cooperation. The cooperation between businesses and universities created this groundbreaking product.
Crucial.
Extremely vital or necessary.
Examples.
Crucial information. A crucial issue for women. The revitalization of technology companies is crucial to the country's growth.
Preoccupation.
The state or condition of thinking about something continuously or obsessively.
Examples.
Preoccupation with work. Military preoccupation. She has an obsessive preoccupation with weight and shape.
Mandate.
An official or authoritative instruction or command, a commission or authority to carry out a particular task.
Examples.
Mandate obligation. An imperial mandate. The mandate given to the new government is to improve the economy.
Membership.
The state of belonging to a group, a club, an organization, etc.
Examples:
a membership fee, membership in a stock exchange. My application for membership in the association was accepted.
Impressive.
Arousing admiration due to size, quality, or skill.
Examples:
Impressive performances. An impressive array of facts. The budget reduction was an impressive feat for our nation.
Triple.
Consisting of 3 items or people, 3 times as great or many.
Examples:
A triple mirror. Triple digits. His coach is a triple Olympic champion.
Concession.
Something that is granted or given up, often in a negotiation or argument, a place or stand where goods or services are sold or provided, often in a public setting such as a stadium or amusement park.
Examples:
An oil concession. Make a concession. The movie theater offered a special concession for seniors on Tuesdays.
Grant.
To agree to give or allow somebody.
Examples:
Grant a new license. Grant a land. The chairperson granted him the right to speak.
Relief.
A feeling of happiness and relaxation that comes when something burdensome is removed or reduced.
Examples:
Tax relief. Sigh of relief. He devoted his life to establishing a humanitarian relief fund.
Drawing.
The act of making a picture with a pencil, pen, or other instruments on paper, cardboard, or other material.
Examples:
Technical drawing. Drawing for design. She is talented at drawing and has won several awards for her artwork.
Pushback.
Resistance, opposition, or an adverse reaction to a plan, idea, or proposal, a deliberate effort to resist, challenge, or oppose external pressure or influence. Verb, to resist or object to a proposal, idea, or plan.
Examples:
Political pushback. Social pushback. The pushback from the community on the proposed policy change was intense and widespread.
Quota.
A limited amount or share of something assigned or allocated, a restriction on the number of people or goods that can enter or leave a country.
Examples:
An import quota. Admission quota. Each country was given a quota for the fish they were allowed to catch.
Consensus.
General agreement or accord in the judgment or opinion reached by a group as a whole.
Examples:
A public consensus. Consensus among scientists. The two parties have reached a consensus.
Capricious.
Given to sudden and unaccountable changes of mood or behavior, unpredictable, governed by a whim or fancy.
Examples:
Capricious decisions. Capricious mood. The capricious weather made it difficult to plan outdoor activities.
Allocate.
To give or distribute something, such as resources or duties, to someone or something for a particular purpose.
Examples:
Allocate resource. Allocate budgets. The company allocated a portion of its profits to developing new products.
Exclusive.
Not divided or shared with others.
Examples:
Exclusive authority. Exclusive clubs. The condo offers exclusive access to the beach.
Unfold.
To open up or spread out something that is folded or rolled up, to reveal or disclose something that was previously hidden or unknown.
Examples:
Unfold the story. Unfold the stroller. The mystery unfolded as the detectives gathered more clues.
Discuss.
To talk about or examine in detail, through conversation or debate, to exchange ideas, opinions, or information on a particular topic.
Examples:
Discuss options. Discuss solutions. We need to discuss the next steps for the project during our meeting tomorrow.
Trauma.
An emotional wound or shock often has long-lasting effects caused by a highly upsetting or shocking experience.
Examples:
Psychic trauma. Trauma care. Many civilians have suffered trauma as a result of the war.
Mobilize.
To make something ready for action or use, to organize people or resources for a particular purpose.
Examples:
Mobilize cooperation. Mobilize a stiff joint. The military mobilized troops to the border.
Opportune.
Suitable or happening at a time that is suitable or convenient for a particular purpose.
Examples:
Opportune occasion. An opportune remark. The phone rang at the most opportune time.
Moving.
Causing strong emotions or feelings, especially sadness or sympathy.
Examples:
Moving experience. Moving ceremony. His moving speech about his struggles with addiction brought tears to the audience's eyes.
Commerce.
The activity of buying and selling things, especially on a large scale.
Examples:
Interstate commerce. The local chamber of commerce. This company has invested heavily in internet commerce.
Medium.
Of a size, amount, or level that is average or intermediate. Noun, a means or instrumentality for storing or communicating information.
Examples:
Medium color. An advertising medium. The medium-sized shirt fits him perfectly.
Enterprise.
A business or company, a purposeful or industrious undertaking, especially one that requires effort.
Examples:
Undertake an enterprise. His business enterprise. A growing enterprise requires a bold leader.
Secondly.
Used to introduce the second point or item in a list or series of statements, considerations, etc.
Examples:
Secondly connected. Secondly, it is important. Firstly, we will discuss the budget. Secondly, we will go over the schedule.
Carbon.
A chemical element that can be found in pure form as diamond or graphite, and it is also an essential part of coal and oil and is found in all plants and animals.
Examples:
Carbon dioxide. Carbon emission. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and give off oxygen.
Footprint.
A mark of a foot, shoe, or animal's foot left on a surface.
Examples:
Footprints in the snow. The footprints of an earlier civilization. We choose transportation that has a smaller carbon footprint.
Inequality.
The unfairness of a society in which some people have more opportunity, money, etc. than others. Mathematics, relation between two values when they are different.
Examples:
Inequality in salary. Algebraic inequality. There are several causes of economic inequality within societies.
Colleague.
One of a group of a coworker, especially in a profession or a business.
Examples:
Collaborate with colleagues. Former colleague. I decided to seek counseling on the advice of my colleague.
Dam.
A wall constructed over a river to block the flow of water, mainly used to generate energy.
Examples:
Dam building program. Dam collapsing. The break in the dam threatened the valley.
Fabric.
Cloth or other material produced by weaving wool, cotton, silk, etc., used for making clothes, covering furniture, etc.
Examples:
A hand-loomed fabric. Fabric of creation. These synthetic fabrics are used in military vests because of their excellent abrasion resistance.
Prefer.
To like, choose, or want one thing or person better than another.
Examples:
Prefer physics to chemistry. Prefer a window seat. The birds prefer open water areas with reeds around them.
Equitable.
Fair and impartial, treating everyone fairly.
Examples.
In an equitable manner. An equitable price. In a democratic country, governments promote equitable opportunities to participate in society.
Definitely.
Without any question and beyond doubt, clearly.
Examples.
Definitely become a problem. Say definitely. The paper is definitely worth reading thoroughly.
Sustainable.
Able to continue or be continued for a long time.
Examples.
Sustainable alternative fuel. Principles of sustainable development. The government should do more to support environmentally sustainable agriculture.
Shift.
A slight transition in position, direction, or trend.
Examples.
Doppler shift. Major paradigm shift. Could you help me shift some furniture?
Gear.
A toothed wheel that engages another toothed mechanism to change the speed or direction of transmitted motion, a set of tools, equipment, or other items for a particular purpose.
Examples.
Sports gear. A gear change lever. She checked her gear before embarking on the hike.
Virtual.
Being actually such in almost every respect, existing in essence or effect, though not an actual fact.
Examples.
A virtual image. Trading of virtual currencies. She is the virtual president of the company.
Sustain.
To supply enough of what somebody or something needs in order to survive or exist, to accept as valid.
Examples.
Sustain a good relationship with him. Sustain a wellness lifestyle. She struggled to sustain the children's reading habits.
Essential.
Indispensable, fundamental.
Examples.
Essential amino acid. Essential commodities of life. Trial and error is an essential part of education.
Universal.
Existing or affecting everywhere or everyone.
Examples.
Universal life. Principles of universal design. The picture earned near universal acclaim from critics.
Automatic.
Able to work or operate with little or no direct human control, independent of external control.
Examples.
Automatic operation. The automatic shrinking of the pupils. In passenger aircraft, it is common to use an automatic pilot during cruising.
Stabilize.
To become or cause to become steady or unlikely to give way.
Examples.
Stabilize prices. Stabilize blood sugar levels. The raising of interest rates stabilizes the inflation rate.
Invest.
To put money, effort, time, etc. into something to make a profit or achieve a result.
Examples:
Invest in stocks. Invest capital. The government should view children as national assets and actively invest in them.
Horrible.
Extremely unpleasant or bad, causing fear or disgust.
Examples:
Horrible accident. Horrible smell. The experience was horrible and left a lasting impression.
Tragedy.
An event or situation causing great loss, misfortune, or destruction. A play or literature that deals with a severe and sad event and often ends with the death of the main character.
Examples:
A tragedy during work. The aftermath of this tragedy. Macbeth is a famous tragedy by Shakespeare.
Inspiring.
Stimulating and motivating you to want to do something.
Examples:
Inspiring stories. Awe-inspiring sight. An inspiring teacher might spark students' motivation to succeed.
Emphasis.
Particular importance or significance that is given to something.
Examples:
Emphasis on color. Lay great emphasis on policy. The spotlight gave the central figure increased emphasis.
Tackle.
To try to deal with a complex problem or situation.
Examples:
Tackle the issue. Help tackle climate change. The government is determined to tackle sharp inflation.
Injustice.
A violation of the rights of others or the laws of a society.
Examples:
Gross injustice. Injustice system. The injustice of the court's decision angered many people and led to protests.
Timescale.
A period or interval of time, particularly one used as a standard for measuring or comparing other periods of time, a reference point or benchmark for the duration or length of a particular event or process.
Examples:
Long timescale. Realistic timescale. The timescale for completing the construction project is 3 years.
Transition.
The process or period of changing from one state or circumstance to another.
Examples:
Transition phase. Ensure a smooth transition. The nation's healthcare system is in transition at the moment.
Miracle.
An act or occurrence that is not explicable by natural or scientific laws and is therefore believed to be caused by God.
Examples:
Miracle person. Economic miracle. The doctors said that her recovery was a miracle.
Genuine.
Real and exactly, not pretended, sincerely felt or expressed.
Examples:
A genuine article. Show genuine regret. Is this painting genuine or forged?
Conflict.
A strong disagreement, argument, or a violent clash between two opposing groups or individuals.
Examples:
The conflict between good and evil. The long-standing conflict. He and I often had conflicts, not only in personality, but also in ideology.
Obligation.
The state of being morally or legally bound to do or pay something.
Examples:
A deep obligation. Pay an obligation. You are under no obligation to finish the job.
Inject.
To put a liquid such as a drug or other substance into a person's or an animal's body using a needle and syringe equals small tube.
Examples:
Inject under the skin. Inject a personal opinion into a debate. Let's try to inject a bit of enthusiasm into your performance.
Desirable.
Worth having or achieving, pleasing, attractive, or sought after.
Examples:
Desirable effect. Desirable result. The beachfront property had a desirable location with stunning ocean views.
Stance.
A way of thinking about something, especially expressed publicly, attitude or position of a standing person or animal.
Examples:
Change her stance. The batting stance. He continued to support her political stance.
Naive.
Showing unaffected simplicity and lack of experience, wisdom, or judgment.
Examples:
Naive belief. Naive mistake. The con artist's lies quickly took in the naive young man.
Determination.
The quality of being persistent and purposeful, the act of finding out the exact nature or essence of something.
Examples:
A steely determination. Determination of a DNA sequence. His determination to succeed was unwavering, even in the face of adversity.
Motivation.
The reason or enthusiasm for acting or behaving in a particular way.
Examples:
Understand his motivation. Motivation for a change. A significant amount of motivation is required to be a teacher.
Recommend.
To suggest that someone or something would be a suitable fit for a particular purpose or role.
Examples:
Recommend a hospitalization. Recommend reading. We recommend taking media training every 6 months.
Spy.
A person who is employed or trained to observe or gather information in secret, often for military or political purposes. A person who secretly or illegally gathers information about a private individual or organization.
Examples:
Spy cameras, digital spy tools. The government recruited a spy to gather information on a suspected terrorist cell.
Calm.
Not excited, angry, or nervous, free from wind, large waves.
Examples:
Calm sea, calm manner. It was the first time in a long time that I felt truly calm and at peace.
Posit.
To suggest or accept something as fact or as a basis for argument or consideration.
Examples:
Posit the existence of life after death. Posit the premise. We should posit several hypotheses to discuss the matter.